All right, well, and thank you for attending this multimedia grant was a one-time funding grant that the math department wrote last year, and I'll go over some of the small details of what we, purchased and what we used to create these multimedia files. And what I'm also going to do is create a blog site, sort of like a recipe site of what to do and how to do some of these things. There's particular equipment and even the grant itself, since there seems to be some interest from other departments that I've actually talked to. So there's going to be a recipe site, a blog, and some entries, the journal entries that I'll put up, and I'll get that information out to everyone as well. And again, this presentation is going to be multimedia-ized so that faculty who miss can actually still get flex credit and view what's going on here. So, anyway, there's a lot of detail, so we'll get started here. Multimedia, the goal is to use technology in a way that stimulates an audience and takes advantage of mediums that are commonly used by the same audience. Being in that math lab, I've noticed, for instance, a lot of what students use, and iPods, they watch a lot of video, they're on MySpace. So these are all sort of tools that I think that we can take advantage of to sort of reach out to students. The district itself actually, at one time, advertised on MySpace, and I'm not sure if they're still doing that. So this was sort of, it's not unusual, and there's campuses who actually have informal websites via MySpace and other avenues. But the idea was to deliver information on demand to an audience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but also to provide quality multimedia, because the outside world actually looks at what we do via this sort of technology, and so they're going to make a judgment of our campus and our students and ourselves. So we thought of doing things in a way that was of best quality at the time, and that was important. And we also wanted to take advantage of every delivery system available in some sense, and we'll talk about some of those. But our audience was students, so we wanted to actually reach out via the internet, since they're on the internet. iPods, they use iPods. Oops, these things. Okay, video iPods. It's a very interesting thing. The format is actually changed on the video screen here. It's going from 4:3 to a 16:9, which is anamorphic. It's formal for widescreen. They use PSPs. So the files that we create can be viewed on iPods, video iPods, and PSPs, streamed over the internet via QuickTime. So this is sort of some of the same technologies used to generate all three of these file types. So that's an added benefit. This is a copy of the cover page of our multimedia grant website, where I explain the mission on this website, and that's essentially what I've sort of described. But in particular, we looked at math courses like Math 112, our pre-algebra course, Math 227, our statistics course. Since we have an extra hour lab component with those courses, the idea was to develop material that students can use or view over the internet for those extra hour sort of settings. They can review some mathematics, and the mathematics that they typically find difficult. Distance learning, which is what Anne was involved with, or is involved with, her sort of input in this is that she wanted to video record some of her lectures or solutions to sort of things and deliver it over the internet via all these three: internet, Sony PSP, and the iPods. So this is sort of what she brought to the table. About a year ago, Dave Ballou sort of resurrected me in sort of the financial aid committee. And I think what he wanted to do was sort of bring back some of what we did in terms of financial aid work. It was a different setting at a different time. It was budget crisis. We needed to really up enrollment, and this sort of really, the financial aid campaign really helped us at the time. So he wanted to resurrect some of this, but my idea was to do it in a way that was permanent. Create an FAQ page, create a documentary to some degree where we can have fellow students motivate students into applying for financial aid versus an instructor like myself or someone else coming in and telling students, hey, apply for financial aid. and also a multimedia presentation in which we went through the process of applying for financial aid and what to expect. So this was sort of a comprehensive plan that we are working on. We are behind schedule for sort of technical reasons. Things didn't get processed in time. We didn't get equipment in time, so we're delayed about a year. But that's the direction we're sort of headed, to create a documentary for students, to motivate other students into applying for financial aid and the process of applying and what to expect. So that's the financial aid portion of the grant. And you can access, again, the grant information at this website. And I think it's kind of important because of the fact that I believe one-time funding grants are still going to be, I thought I heard that they're going to do this again. So if other departments look at some of the tools and we post it here, some of the things that they need to purchase, they have a place to start, and they can think about it that way. So, it's sort of an exciting time with exciting technology. And our district and our campus has the money to do this, so I think it's just the time to take advantage of that fact. Again, we want to deliver information via mathematics and financial aid. Since we've started this project, we've actually assisted the physics department, which is Viken, into putting some of his lectures online. And, and that's a pretty standard thing that's happening now. Anna's created lectures as well, online, for online purposes. And we even have Paulina, who contacted us about transfer. I guess there was a UCLA workshop last week in which a UCLA representative showed up and wanted to talk about personal statements for students and how to write them and how to apply for financial aid. And Paulina wanted to create sort of at least just a video, so that if a student missed this workshop, they can still refer to some other place and get the information as if they were, at the workshop. So I think that, again, it's a very good thing that they're working on doing this. They're also considering alternative methods of trying to get a website up and running, so that's sort of what I've also worked on as well. But so this is actually really, like I said, it's a very helpful idea in how to assist students better and faculty better by trying to digitize this information and allow them to go back and view it. Well, here is a sample, a multimedia sample that I created. Like I said, keep in mind that, and I'll go over the equipment and the process a little bit, but the idea was to present quality to the outside world, And so what we wrote in the grant, and I'll get into more details, is some training, the purchase of equipment, training for IT, IA, and faculty, in an effort just to give the best quality you possibly can give. And so, here's a little bit of it. I'll play a little bit.
Probability.
I hope you don't mind the music. I might have to remove it.
We're going to discuss the complement of events, the complement rule for probability, the addition rule for probability, the definition of odds, and the definition of conditional probability. We're also going to talk about the complement of the
I'm just going to fast forward a little bit here.
Add the number of men, 1,692, with the number of non-men, 531. I'll get 2,223 passengers. The event of being a survivor. There were 706 survivors aboard the Titanic. The complement of being a survivor is not being a survivor. And there was 1,517 people who did not survive aboard the Titanic. The 706 plus 1,517 is 2,223.
Now again, I'm going over some details. Here, I'm actually computing the probability and discussing the approximation of that probability.